It started like many stories in the world of fame do, with lights, cameras, and the irresistible pull of attention. When CHRISEAN Rock entered Blueface's life, she wasn't yet the media sensation she would become. She was hungry, determined, and wide-eyed, stepping into a world where chaos often reigns louder than talent. Blueface, born Jonathan Porter, was already knee-deep in his rise. He had tasted viral fame with Thoshiana and built a brand on unfiltered behavior and an unapologetic persona. When their worlds collided, it was electric, but dangerously so. At first, CHRISEAN was just another face in the Blue Girls Club, his self-produced reality show where women competed for his attention in a chaotic mix of drama, loyalty, and fights. But she quickly stood out, not just for her looks, but for her fight. Literally. She lost a tooth in a violent altercation during the filming of the show, but wore the scar with pride, a symbol of her loyalty and toughness. Fans either loved her or couldn't stand her, but no one ignored her. Blueface noticed, too. She wasn't just another contestant. She was a storm. Their relationship wasn't built in peace. It was born in the fire of dysfunction and cemented through public arguments, viral moments, and a constant roller coaster of breakups and reconciliations. They tattooed each other's names on their bodies. They threw punches, insults, and shade in every direction, especially online. Their Instagram lives became battlegrounds. Fans tuned in, not just for updates, but for the next explosion. But behind the drama was something more complicated. There was pain, history, and a toxic mix of love and trauma that neither seemed ready or able to untangle. CHRISEAN had grown, apart, battled homelessness, and struggled to trust. Blueface had his own demons, juggling fame, fatherhood, and a past filled with conflict. Together they found something that felt like love, but often looked like war. CHRISEAN once said during a live stream, "It's me and him against the world, even if he don't know it." It was heartbreakingly honest. She saw herself as loyal to the end, even when Blueface publicly humiliated her, mocked her, or moved on with other women. Her loyalty became her identity, and her prison. Blueface, on the other hand, wore confidence like armor. He denied being in love, pushed CHRISEAN away, then pulled her back in. Some said he was manipulating her. Others said he was confused. But one thing was clear. He couldn't leave her alone. There was a gravity between them that pulled them back together, no matter how much damage they caused in the process. Things took a turn when CHRISEAN announced her pregnancy in early 2023. The internet exploded. Some thought it was a lie. Others celebrated. Blueface immediately denied it, questioned the timeline, and publicly humiliated her once again. But she stood her ground. She posted sonograms, cried on camera, and showed the world a softer side no one had seen before. "I'm not perfect," she said, "but I'm going to be a mom." What followed was perhaps the most painful chapter in their saga. While CHRISEAN prepared for motherhood, Blueface continued to spiral. He posted pictures with other women, made jokes at her expense, and aired their dirty laundry across every platform. He questioned her fitness as a mother, doubted the paternity, and offered little support. Yet CHRISEAN never fully closed the door. Even in her lowest moments, she still held out hope. Then came the birth of their son, CHRISEAN Malone Jr., in September 2023. CHRISEAN live-streamed the birth, an emotional moment watched by thousands. She cried, she screamed, and then she smiled, through tears, holding her son close. But the joy was short-lived. Blueface was not there. He had chosen to attend another woman's party instead. The symbolism was brutal. Motherhood changed CHRISEAN. The wild girl who once smashed TVs and screamed on live feeds began to disappear. In her place stood a young mother, still raw, still flawed, but trying. She spoke of faith, of God's plan, of protecting her son from the generational pain she had known. She started singing gospel, attending church, and posting about healing. Her fans saw the growth. Others still mocked her, but many began to root for her. Blueface continued his descent. More legal issues, more public beefs, and a growing reputation as a villain in their story. Then came the bombshell. He was sentenced to prison in 2024 for a parole violation tied to a prior assault case. The internet buzzed once again. But this time, CHRISEAN didn't celebrate, didn't gloat. She posted a prayer. "I hope he finds peace. I hope he heals. For our son." Those few words said everything. She was done fighting him, not because she didn't care, but because she finally cared about herself more. In jail, Blueface began to change. At least that's what those close to him claimed. He started writing, kept to himself, and reportedly began working on music and a memoir. He called CHRISEAN a few times. The conversations were short, sometimes tense, but always real. He asked about his son. He asked if she was okay. For the first time, he seemed to see her not as property or chaos, but as a woman raising their child alone. Meanwhile, CHRISEAN was glowing. She performed at churches, dropped faith-based singles, and shared moments of peace with her baby. She looked tired sometimes, but strong. She was building a life no longer dependent on his approval or attention. She spoke at women's shelters, did interviews where she reflected on her journey, and admitted her mistakes without shame. "I'm not the girl I was," she said in one interview. "That girl was lost. Now I've got something real to live for." Still, the internet wouldn't let the story die. Every post, every quote, and every rumor sparked speculation. Were they getting back together? Did he finally apologize? Was she dating someone new? But CHRISEAN stopped feeding the fire. Her life was no longer for entertainment. And yet the story of Blueface and CHRISEAN remains compelling not just because of the drama, but because it reflects something deeply human. Two broken people who found each other in the dark tried to create light and hurt each other in the process. Their love was messy, loud, and public, but it was real. And sometimes real isn't enough to make it work. Now, with Blueface behind bars and CHRISEAN raising their son on her own, their paths have diverged, but their lives will always be intertwined. Maybe someday they'll sit down and talk, really, talk. Maybe their son will grow up and read about his parents and see more than the drama. He'll see two people who tried, who failed, and who grew. As of now, Blueface is still serving time. CHRISEAN continues to build. The future remains unwritten, but one thing is certain. The world will keep watching. Not because they want drama, but because somewhere deep down, everyone hopes for redemption, for both of them.